money is not the way of happiness.
The process is going to help you become who you want to become at the end. First of all, quitting is out of my dictionary. A lot of people think that I'm really successful, but in my head, I haven't even accomplished not even 10% of what I want to accomplish.
In order to be successful, it's hard work and talent.
When you do the decline, that's when it starts to get you humble. You start to see things that you didn't see before.
Key advice, if you're successful on your way up, be careful around you. I almost got kidnapped. If you ever get kidnapped, you got, guys, take notes. Money-wise, I was good. Body-wise, I was looking better, but I felt empty inside.
95% of the popularity think that success is technically not. Because once you reach that level, life will teach you that what you think success is, it's not. Hey, cheers on success, though.
Cheers on success. Cheers on success.
Cheers, Dad.
Let's get it, just that go and get it, with no hesitation, just that never quit, start that elevation, this that process, this that in the making, this that started from the bottom, this that motivation, this that opportunity, me in preparation, all I know is win, feel like Gary Payton, this that process, this that in the making, this that started from the bottom, this that motivation.
I just want to do this. Let me
Do it.
Back in 3, 2, 1. Welcome to Flyview Network. Hi, boy.
Yeah, so earlier you said something about asking your dad or showing your dad that you had made your first $500,000. So I think that's something with Hispanic parents in general, because I mean, I haven't made close to that money yet, right? But trying to go back to my dad and showing him the modern ways of making money or whatever, for them it's just work hard. Right. Just do this. You're going to get a raise at your job. Yeah. But they have this misconception of how the real world nowadays works, right? Like for them, it's stay at your job, get a promotion, do this, do that, right? But nowadays, if you really think about it, even in the Bay Area, right? Your average home is about 1.5.
Yeah.
So you need what? 20, 30% down? 200,000? How long is it going to take you to save that money working even at a good paying job, right? Let's say 200, 300,000. That's what you're making, a good paying job. How long is it going to take you to save that money to just do your first down payment, right? So we have to find new ways to make money. But I think that's a problem with Hispanic parents. Not a problem, because they were taught different. They come from different countries. They grew up with different mindsets. So I don't want to call it a problem. But Hispanic parents or people that were born in Mexico or in any other part of Latin America have that misconception of stay at your job, do this, do that. And at least that's what I was taught, right? My dad was always work hard, do this, do that. But in order to be successful, it's hard work and talent, and consistency that pushes you to be able to make that big amount of money that's actually going to push you or motivate you to do even more. Because staying at a regular job, 9 to 5, what are you going to get? $1 raise, $2 raise a year? It's going to take you 10, 15 years to buy that dream home, to buy that nice car.
That's fly.
Just to do these things that you want to do.
Yeah. I have a good question for you, bro.
Wait, he didn't finish my question, though.
What was your question?
It was the
You got to re-ask it.
Understanding.
All right, re-ask the question.
So the two questions I asked was like you were taking us through your losses.
Yeah.
Remember? That was a good conversation we actually had before this cut. Yep. And then the second question was like, after you actually understanding the process, at what time frame or how long did it took you from making the $500,000 to flipping it into $1 million?
Right. It took me a while. Because everything went down. So basically, there's ups and downs, guys. That's how life is, like everything is not gonna stay the same. Life is all about changes. And with that, it comes lessons. And basically, I went through a stage of my life where I was losing, and Bitcoin was going down, everything was going down, and that's when I decided. I was like, it'll be a good idea to create this movement and sell a membership to basically teach people. And that's when I was able to actually create another income besides my trading, wallets, I created another income where, we just sell a subscription and basically people pay monthly. And we started to do that, and we started to actually make money, and we were able to actually live out of that. I haven't had a job, guys, like
2016.
since 2016. It's going to be 10 years. So, I mean, I say it like this because, I pretty much have been living out of the internet. And what I can tell you is that it's possible, but it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. At first, it's not like a lot of people are used to basically, exchange time for money. And they go, hey, you're going to pay me this much for my time, whatever. But when you're an entrepreneur, you're basically playing a lot of hats and you're barely getting paid. A lot of the times, the first months, you're not even profitable. If we talk about regular business, like, say, for example, open up a restaurant, right? The first years, you're not going to see no profits and you're going to work a lot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, but at the end of the day, if you stick through it, if you're really good at what you do and you're also really good at marketing, because one thing is good. I was good at trading, yes, but I wasn't the best. But I was like, I'm good at marketing.
You know how to market.
Exactly. And that's why I created a movement. We branded, like the way we branded ATM because it's hot. People like see ATM and they go like, it's money.
Think money right away.
It's money, right? And then my cars, all my cars got the ATM CEO.
As a matter of fact, I put up on him. I was like, he had an ATM sticker on the back. And I'm like, that's got to be him. So I fucking cut him off. I cut him off.
Took a chance.
But
it was funny.
I don't ever get mad, guys. Like, I see people doing that all the time. I just smile, like I just...
Kill them with kindness.
I'm in my own zone, guys. I'm enjoying life. You know what I mean?
Well, I wasn't trying to get you mad. I was trying to get you scared.
Guys, I've been through a lot. And we can go further in the podcast. I can tell you more about the experience that I had because I had some horrible experiences because of my success. Because people think that success is like, it's all great. But the more successful you become, the more enemies, the more shit's gonna happen to you.
Facts.
Life is gonna
Big facts. You feel me?
and that's the older side of success that people don't want to talk about it.
Yeah.
But that's how it is. You know what I mean?
And just so you know, when something really resonates with the team, we say facts and then somebody else says big facts, and then we gotta think because it's like
I like that.
we fucking dig it. You know what I'm saying? We agree with you 100%.
Yeah, for sure. Or when you say something very crazy and nice and dope, you get that.
Let's do it. I like that. Yeah.
Yeah, no. So he what he was saying was a great point. How sometimes people just see the good side of success, right?
Right.
They see the money you're making. They see the nice cars, the nice parties, the nice houses, but they don't see the sacrifice that people do to get there, right? I still work a corporate job. I work at a company called NVIDIA. It's literally around the corner,
Nice.
right?
It's a good company.
And not too long
I
ago,
actually
we
got
had
stocks with them. So
yeah, they're going up.
Why?
They're going up.
Are you getting stocks in your?
Yeah, I have some.
Get the max you can
I
get. Bro.
that's what I want. That's what I want to do.
I'm telling you.
But we had an event with the CEO, and he went to. At this point, the company's worth $3 trillion, right? It's a huge company. It's one of the I think it's the second or third biggest company in the world, right? And we had an event, and he went to the food truck vendors, right? A little taco shop, little mom and pop shop, nothing fancy. And he goes up to them and starts giving them advice, right? And I was like, first of all, it speaks about his humbleness. And then I'm like, these people don't know who they're talking to. And he was telling them, it took me 30 years to get where I'm at, right? So people see him on the internet. People
Tell him about the Denny's story.
Oh, yeah. He started his business out at a corner booth at a Denny's.
Local San Jose Denny's.
Local,
I
local
heard
here in San
that.
Jose.
Yeah.
So the Denny's booth now says, here started a $3 trillion company.
My question is that Denny's open still?
It's
'Cause
still open.
I heard that they're closing.
No, I think it's still open. And that booth has a placard that says, here started a $3 billion company.
That's
3
crazy.
trillion, sorry. Billion, small. $3 trillion company. But to what I'm going to is, he said it took me 30 years, right? So I see him nowadays walking, chauffeurs, bodyguards, buildings, travels the world, private jets. but it took him 30 years to get to that point. People don't see, and that's just throwing the time frame, right? That's not speaking about times where he had to worry about making payroll, times where he worried about, hey, my company might not make any profit or do anything, right? So it goes to what he was saying, and maybe that could be the next question of what was something that you learned throughout those years, or what was your biggest struggle throughout the time?
Well, my biggest struggle will be
one of them.
Basically, is everything. I'll say, because you don't know what you're doing. You're doing something new. A lot of people don't believe in you. A lot of people even your family, your loved ones, they tell you, what are you doing? Why are you wasting your time? Why don't you just go back to your job? You have a degree, And it's crazy because it's lonely, like you get lonely, and you can even have those conversations with your friends anymore because your friends, the circle that friends the circle of friends that I had, basically, they were doing other things, They were going out.
It's a mindset.
Yes, it's crazy, bro.
It's a mindset.
Because like I used to go out a lot. Like I used to have friends that I used to party with all the time. But when I started my journey as an entrepreneur, I kind of went MIA, because I didn't have time. I didn't have time to waste at the nightclub or drinking. I had to be focused on and I had to save money as well. So what I did is I started to work on my personal growth, because basically the mind is, when the mind is weak, you feel like giving up, right?
Yep.
And I knew that if my struggle was I didn't have the knowledge, I didn't have the connections, I didn't have anything. I just had the belief and I had the motivation and the energy, right? But that's not enough. You gotta get the mindset. And I knew that if I wanted to get to the places where I want to be, I had to start working on my mindset. So I got really deep into personal development. There's good books, Think and Grow Rich is the book that, besides the Bible, because recently, guys, because of everything that happened to me, and when we get further in the podcast, I'll tell you more about my journey, because everything wasn't just up, Yeah. Basically, the Bible changed my life. I'm forever grateful, for all the teachings. I believe in Jesus Christ, and I'm forever, grateful. But at the same time, back then, the book that changed everything for me was Think and Grow Rich, because
That's a good one.
I didn't know anything about, what I was doing, but I knew I was going the right way. And then when I started reading, Think and Grow Rich, I started to understand the power of the mind. There's a good quote that says, whatever the mind can believe, the mind can achieve. You know what I mean? Yep. So I started, to focus, so started to, creating good relationships. There's a good chapter in that book about, the pleasant personality. You know what I mean? I didn't even know about that. You know what I mean? So that book gives you different tips for you to actually create good connections and network. And that's what I started to apply in my life. And that's what helped me, navigate through the struggles and become better at this.
Mm-hmm. No, it's...
So I had a question that I've been holding in for a while.
Let it go.
Shoot it.
Let it go,
So,
Chori. We know you've been holding on.
You got the shooting. There you go. Facts.
You were talking about struggles and everything, and one of the things that keeps on coming up when we're doing podcasts is because we're interviewing a lot of successful people, and one of the things is you said friends, you had to kind of I'm gonna use this word, but maybe it's not a nice word, cut off, you have to cut some people off, and one of the previous guys that we had before, he had to cut a lot of his family off too. So I know that's even a struggle right there too, because you love your family, but there's sometimes, man, they're just not on the same page as you, you know what I'm saying? So what do you got to say about that or anything?
Yeah. So yeah, I love my family. I have a great relationship with my parents. I believe that, if you have your mom alive, your mom should be your queen, you know what I mean? The most important woman in your life, because at the end of the day, it's she's the one that gave you life and took care of you when you were a baby, So I have a great relationship with them. At first, they didn't believe in me. They just didn't have that belief level. And it's not because they were bad people, but it was because they love me. You know what I mean? They just didn't want me to.
They wanted the best for you.
Yeah,
They can't see what they can't see.
Exactly.
Right?
They don't want me to waste time or get disappointed. You know what I mean? So, yeah, at first it was hard, but I didn't really cut them off. It was more like I was just focused. I was, doing my thing. You know what I mean? I was just basically working 24/7, and I kind of like I wasn't seeing them as much because I was like so focused on what I was doing. But every time I'll see them, it was great. You know what I mean? I just wouldn't talk to them about my business anymore. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because
I
didn't want to have that conversation anymore. But yeah, I believe that at the end of the day, when you become successful, there's different ways for you to become successful, right? You can have, you can become successful when it comes to money, and I'll tell you that's the lowest tier of success that you can have because at the end of the day, I've seen people that have a lot of money, but their lives they're fucked. They don't have people that love them because of who they are. They just love them because of their money. They're not in good shape. They just have a mess of a life. I don't know if you guys know this guy. The one who created the antivirus.
Antivirus for...
He's huge. McCaffrey or... I forgot his last name. It's a guy. There's I guess he killed himself, something like that. There was a guy that... I forgot his name. I'll get you his name. Mm-hmm. But there's a guy who basically... He became really successful. He made a lot of money. He created the first antivirus. The antivirus has his last name.
Mm-hmm. McAfee or some shit?
McAfee. John McAfee. There you go. Thank you, bro. You're like...
Got it.
Okay, so John McAfee, right? He had a lot of success. He became really successful. He had a lot of money. But his life, man, it was fucked, he ended up... They were saying that he killed himself. They're saying that he killed him, that he killed somebody. But his life was a mess, right? But he had a lot of success when it comes to money. So for me, it's like there's different tiers. And I've learned that the hard way, you know what I mean? Because when you don't have nothing, when you come from nothing, all you want is you just want to make money,
right?
You guys know 50 Cent, right? He says, "Get rich or die trying," right? Because you come from nothing and you just want to have everything, right? So, and that's what I did, and that's why man, like when I didn't have anything, right? The first thing that I did with my money, I started buying a lot of things. I bought a lot of designer, Louis V, Rolexes, everything, right? Like I just wanted to have that feeling of that what people have, you know what I mean? But the more, knowledgeable you become about, basically that success is not just money, then you realize that there's more important things, like relationships.
Definitely.
You know what I mean? Like the friends that you have, what kind of friendships do you have? I'm
welcome to Flyview Network, baby.
There you know what I'm
yeah.
saying? You're my boy, bro. You're my boy. I'm glad to to reconnect with you, bro.
Likewise.
And after this, bro, expect text messages from me every week.
Oh no, definitely, bro. I feel like everything happens for a reason,
yes,
bro.
Sir.
You know what I'm saying? We met one time, we're circling back, and now we're here. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
Meant to be. Manifestation right there.
And yeah, guys, relationships with your friends, with your family, and that's what at this point in my life, this stage of my life is basically becoming successful at that and also getting closer to God, because when you make money, sometimes you think that you're too powerful, that nothing can happen to you, you know what I mean? And it's crazy how life is. God makes sure that you get humble. Mm-hmm. Yep. You know what I mean?
I think it's
facts.
Big facts. You feel me?
you get that. No, I feel like what you're saying is very truth to it because everyone that touches success are the beginning of what you feel is success is when it comes to being or looking at it on a monetary aspect. Mm-hmm. You look like this, and then you start feeling a type of way, and then eventually life teaches you that that's not what it is, and then you learn, and then if you're willing to have the guts and the strength to pick yourself up and move differently, that's when you realize that money is not the way of happiness. That's why I have on my portrait right there, I have faith, wealth, and love right there as a pyramid. Those are the three things that people should focus on and be balanced on, right? You can't focus on one more than the other.
Exactly.
And if you think of anything in life, it will fall under those three categories, right? Faith could be God. Faith could be your mission, what you think of. You could believe in Buddha, whatever the case might be. That's your faith. That's what's going to keep you alive. And wealth is not monetary itself. Wealth could be the wealth between your family, right? The friendships, the relationships, and love is your family, the loved one, your wife, your kids, et cetera, and that comes with love for yourself as well, right? So it's a very powerful message that I came up with about having those three things as a pyramid for the strength or the core value of a human being into what they need to focus and be balanced on. But I want to ask a question for everyone on the table, because you answer what's success to you, but what's success to you? And you have it in your chain, my man. So you better have a good description.
Have a really good answer.
You better have a real description.
Here I go. And it's not that hard, bro.
All right, let's get it, bro.
Happiness. That's success. Because going back to what he said, it's not money, because if it was money, a lot of rich entrepreneurs or whatnot, they would tell you, hey, I mean, as a matter of fact, on TV or like movies or whatever, that's what they make it seem like. Like that's that's happiness, but in reality, happiness comes within, you know. So success to me is happiness.
I have a follow-up question for you, my man.
Dale gas, mijo. Dale gas.
So, to my perception, right, to my eyes, happiness to me comes temporary, right? It's not a constant feeling, regardless of the state of mind that you're on, right? So when it comes to happiness, because happiness is the success on your eyes, right? How do you maintain the perception of staying happy throughout a long period of time? Because to me, it's like a switch, right? It goes on and off, but it is what I do when it's off that makes a difference when it's actually on. If that makes any sense to everyone.
No, it makes sense.
It makes sense, right? Okay.
So, like my boy Ricky said, there's ups and downs and everything, and happiness is also too. There's gonna be moments that's sad or whatever. You know what I'm saying? The reason why I chose happiness as success is because that's where I'm always trying to aim for. How even this, just me sitting down with y'all talking makes me happy. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm like we talked about this. This is like therapy. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So this to me is success. Like us having this is success,
right?
And this makes me happy. The fact that I don't have to come over here. I want to come over here. You know what I'm saying? So does that
answer the question?
Does that answer the question?
It answers the question, man. Thank you.
But definitely, I'm not gonna be happy.
Right,
100%. No, whoever tells you that's BS.
Right.
Bullshit.
You look into what you're doing,
but
that's a follow up to get that happiness.
That's my strive. You know what I'm saying?
All right, my man Sab. Gio, what's success to you, my man?
For me, I think it's being good at anything you put your mind to or anything you touched, right? Success, family-wise, relationship-wise, money-wise. Somebody that's successful is somebody that makes the best out of what they have, not somebody that has everything and expects that to be the best, right?
Oh, it's a good one.
Hey, hit that button for you, bro.
Cheers to that.
On that note, let's cheers on that.
All right,
one.
cheers.
Hey, cheers on success, though.
Cheers on success. Cheers on success.
Cheers, man.
Cheers, my boys. There you go.
Aye, boy. By the way, that's my word.
There you go. I like that.
I don't think you know that's my word. I don't think you know that's my word. Aye, boy.
You gotta do that thing.
A little.
That's how you feel. That's how you feel, my boy. No, but I got it on record right here. Like, aye, boy. Yo,
You don't even gotta waste his breath.
Like that.
No, but for me, success is that somebody that's successful is anything they put their mind to, they do to the greatest ability and make the best out of it. For me, that's somebody that's successful. Because like we just touched, it's not just about money. It could be somebody that has a relationship and makes the best out of it. Friendships, even sports, gym. I mean, it ties up, right? Somebody that works out and does the best. He doesn't even have to be the biggest dude in the gym. But the guy that takes advantage of what he has and makes the best of it, he's successful.
All right. So in summary of the description, what 95% of the popularity think that success is technically not. Because once you reach that level, life will teach you that what you think success is, it's not.
It's not.
So it is a journey, and it's a sprint. It's a marathon, not a sprint. So
That's right.
definitely, definitely.
And again, we've said this before. Enjoy the journey.
Yep.
Enjoy the journey.
Yeah, there's like I don't know, Kobe Bryant. He said it best. With the Mamba mentality. He said it's not about the goals, it's not about the destination. It's about the journey. The process. Because the process is gonna change you. The process is gonna help you become who you want to become at the end.
Yep.
And that's how you divide leaders from followers. It is who actually enjoys the process that stays in the process and stays consistent. Because a lot of people drop. We all know people think, oh, success, I'm just gonna buy this course and eventually I'm just gonna know. Like you gotta do a lot of work.
I feel that the people that drop, bro, they're just doing it for one thing and one thing only.
And that's why
which is what, Chody?
Money, bro. And those are the people that drop because they don't understand that you gotta love what you do. You know what I'm saying? It's not just about money.
Right.
Sometimes even the problems that come to you, it's for a reason.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's not for no reason. It's for
I like
a
what
reason.
you said there.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So
just to add on what you say, like for me, it's like, why people quit?
Why?
Because they're selfish. Because at the end of the day, when you're doing things in a superficial way, you said it though, just because of money, just because you want something for you, you're not gonna have a powerful why you're doing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But when you have a family, when you have something that you want to accomplish because it's not only gonna benefit you, but it's gonna help others, then you're locked in. You know what I mean? Quitting is not an option. You know what I mean?
No.
So for me, like I've seen, especially in my industry, I've seen a lot of people come and go. You know what I mean? A lot of people come and go. I've been doing this for like almost 10 years. And the reason why I haven't quit is because, first of all, quitting is out of my dictionary. And second of all, my why becomes bigger. I have a family, I have 2 kids, I have a wife. You know what I mean? I'm focused, I'm locked in, And here's the thing. And it's crazy because, a lot of people think that I'm really successful, but in my head, I haven't even accomplished not even 10% of what I want to accomplish. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So I'm just locked in, and quitting doesn't exist. And at the end of the day, if you're thinking about quitting and you're watching this, you got to remove that word from your dictionary. And you got to remember, you got to have your goal and you got to attach it to a powerful why. And money's not powerful enough. Mm-hmm. You got to do it for your mom.
Have a purpose.
Exactly. Do it for your pops. Do it for your kids. Do it because you want to change your generational, line. You know what I mean? Because I come from honestly, I have a funny ass last name. My last name is Cucalon.
I think it's dope last name.
It's dope.
It sounds like cool cologne.
Yeah, bro. It's funny.
Is that another business idea?
It's funny. It's funny. It's not even I never met anybody
with that
last name that is not a family member. But it's just funny, right? But then what I did when I was a kid, I used to go on Google and I used to Google my last name, right? And nobody that has ever accomplished anything big ever popped up
until now.
Go to Google. Go to Google right now. Type in Cucalon. Go to YouTube right now. Type in Cucalon. You're about to see.
You'll see what's up now.
Okay. That's a cool metaphor. I like the whole.
No, but that's a really dope ass last name though.
Thank you, bro.
No,
you want it?
You want it?
It depends on how much.
How much goes with it?
He's already married, unfortunately.
If it's gonna make me a lot of money, yeah, I'll buy it.
I think those are the shots talking at this point.
The shot talking.
No, but I want to add to what you were saying earlier about having a purpose or having a why, right? Not too long ago, I came across this video on Instagram of some guy that said he went up to random people, right, asking them, if I told you what's the percentage of you making $1 million by the end of the year, what's the percentage? Everybody said 0, 0, 0, 0, right? Your crazy people said 1%. People that had already been close to it had said 5%. Then he said, what if I told you that by the end of the year you don't make $1 million, your whole family's dying?
Damn.
Everybody said 100%, 100%. And he said, what changed? The time frame is the same. The amount of money I offered you was the same. But your why? your purpose changed of who you were doing it or why you were doing it. He said, now if I told you by the end of the year your family's dying, are you still going to be like, you know what, I'll skip the gym today? Or, hey, you know what, I'll skip work today? Or, you know what, let me just waste 3 hours on Instagram today. He said your why starts changing and you start adapting your life and you make it happen. So I think as an entrepreneur, that's the very first question you should ask yourself as to why you're doing it, right? And then based off of that, then everything else becomes secondary. You'll find your way, you'll align, you'll live and you'll learn. You know, yeah, you'll lose, but like we said, if you change that word to not just lost as a lesson learned, then you'll keep going. But I think the first question you should always ask yourself as an entrepreneur is why.
You know what's funny? Not funny, but you know what's crazy to me is that at least something that happened to me personally, and I could devote to it, is that I had my why, right? I had my whole concept. I had my mission. But once you reach a certain status, you start losing you start getting off the rails. Your focus, because you start getting into a power stroke in a sense, and you start thinking, now I can do A, B, and C, now my family's taken care of. So you lose track. So I think that entrepreneurs have to go through the incline, the decline, and then eventually it's what you do at the decline once you actually made it, and then
I got something to say.
That makes you sustain your status after that, because then you value it more, and then you oversee what you did. Right?
I got something to say on the decline though.
Oh, bring it on.
I think the decline is the best. Ooh. Why do I think the decline is the best? Is because when you're up, you don't see mistakes. You don't see the bad. You don't see none of that stuff.
You're fuck everyone. I'm
just
here.
Like fuck everyone. I'm fucking partying or whatever the fuck it is that you're doing. When you do the decline, that's when, you said it before too, that's when it starts to get you humble. You start to see things that you didn't see before. Mm-hmm. And then you also learn a lot of things that you didn't think you were going to learn too.
And you learn who was there for you on the real and who wasn't.
On the real, and also too, you see another side of you too that you didn't even know existed.
Well, I think you start seeing the real you.
What? Say that again?
I think you start seeing your real you in your lowest, right? Because it's easy to say, I got this, I got that when you're up in the high, right? But when you're in the low, you start seeing who you really are, as you start really seeing your character, your discipline, right?
Oh, that's good. The discipline.
The discipline, your character, that's when you see. When nobody sees you, when you're not making money, when you're not getting paid to do what you have to do, that's what speaks the loudest, right? Because it's easy for everybody to say like, oh, I give money to charity, or I'll give my time, right? When you're getting paid and when you're making money, right? But when nobody's seeing you and when you're getting close to being broke and you're close and you still do that, that's your discipline. That's your character. That's what pushes
we're gonna ask the same question to my boy Ricky. What was like your biggest decline that it made you feel like you actually like it hit something that changed your life or your mind, whatever. It's something they call it like a core memory or like a big impact, you know?
Yeah. So basically, I'll take it by seasons, you know? And let's go back to where we were, you know? Basically, I was doing good, you know? I created my movement. I was doing great to the point that I remember, you know, back in 2016, when I didn't have a car, I remember I made a story on Instagram that I posted. I posted a picture of BMW i8.
I remember that post.
And I was like, yo, and I posted it and I was like, yo, when I become successful, this is going to be my first present, you know, to celebrate. Fast forward.
Your first trophy.
Yeah, 2018, I bought my first BMW i8. And the way I bought it, it was crazy because, you know, I remember I went to basically the bank. I had to go to 5 different banks. I had a Gucci backpack that I bought. I freaking got cash, guys. I got cash, like over $100K in cash. And I went to dealership in San Jose. And basically what I did is like I saw the car.
Shout out to the dealership.
I forgot.
BMW Stevens Creek.
We don't have to shout them. They're not paying us, but I'm just saying.
But long story
I was
short,
trying to be funny.
I walked in. The first guy, he
ignored you.
Yeah, he ignored me. And the second guy, he was nice, and he was like, "Hey, you know, what car are you looking at?" And the first guy, I asked him, "Yo, how much is a car?" And he told me the price, and I was like, "Yo, can I test drive it? And he was like, yeah, but it's for serious buyers only. He said serious buyers only. And I was like,
that's
man.
the shit that gets you
Yeah,
on.
you're like, hold on, what you said? What?
Let me take 2.
I know. In that case, yeah, let me take 2.
And I was like, all right, cool. I said, all right, cool. And then I saw the other guy. I was like, come here, bro. Hey, I want to test drive this car. And that guy who was nicer, he was like, yeah, sure. He let me test drive it. And I bought it, I got the money out and I paid for it. I made a video about the things on my IG. And I bought my first, man, I was like, what, 25, 26, something like that. So I bought my first BMW i8. And back then, they were popping. Now it's like, they're just a regular car. But it was popping. Nobody had them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was popping because it was something different.
Yeah, it was
too.
different.
Like, it was just
new.
different.
Lambo
Yeah.
doors.
They were really expensive. They were like the Tesla,
At that
the
time.
Cybertrucks right now, right? It was really expensive. But, and then, and I was winning, I wasn't a season through. I was winning a lot. I went from that car to, then I got me a Audi R8, which was a great car as well. And I was like on my way up, right? I was like, I forgot about everything. I was just winning. I was making money, expanding my business all over the world, traveling like crazy, like basically I was like you said, I was like, fuck everybody. A lot of fake people were like coming into my life because what I had, because of who I was. Yeah. And then I remember I went from that car and then I got me a McLaren 650S, right? A drop top Spider. And it's crazy, guys, because I was on my way up, but then it hit me, right? It hit me. Everything changed because I remember on my way up, I was having success, and when you have more success, and that's where we're gonna talk about the losses, and we're gonna talk about the decline, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Let's get to the juicy stuff. Yeah.
A lot of bad shit started happening to me, like from allegations from women saying that I did something to them,
Dang.
Which
I'm trying to get money off of you.
If you're a successful man out there, and this is like a big advice, this is key advice. If you're successful on your way up, be careful around women. Don't just be like, hey, I'm the Mac Daddy, I'm gonna be with a lot of women. Just be careful because there's a lot of women that get into your life just because they want to get money out of you or they want to hurt you. You know what I mean?
And they're pretty smart at it too.
Bro, it's crazy. So I went through that, I was honestly like, when you're not guilty of nothing, when you have basically,
clear mind.
you haven't done anything, you just go and face the problems. And that's what I did, face the problems, prove that I didn't do shit, I'm basically, the law system is so fucked, guys, that when you prove your innocence, basically nothing happens to them. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Nothing happens to them.
They're just like,
That's crazy,
okay.
yeah.
Nothing happens to them. They basically started rumors about you, and then when you go and show facts and show proof, and they end up admitting that they're lying, nothing happens to them. So if you're a guy, just be careful. Cover your back. Don't do anything stupid. Just stay in your lane. Women either gonna make you or break you. Just stay focused.
Facts.
So that's
Big facts. You heard?
That's one, right? That's one. And another thing happened to me. I was in Peru doing a tour, and I almost got kidnapped in Peru. Like I never, it's like bad things were happening to me, right? And basically, I was in Peru. I was like, these guys were like, yo, we're big investors. We want to meet with you. We want to do like a meetup.
This is them reaching out you here, and they're reaching out for you to go there.
Well, no, I was already in Peru.
Oh, you were already there.
And I have, keep in mind, I have different, partners or guys that work with me all over the world. And basically, one of my guys is like, hey, bro, these guys are investors, this and that. They want us to go to their house because they're having like a meetup. And, I was like, I guess I was kind of dumb, or I just don't have that bad heart. I just don't think bad about people, And now I know, what I mean? Now I know how to be cautious about things, you know what I mean? And basically what I did was I went. I didn't know. So I went, and then when I got to the place, I got out of the taxi, and then I was walking to the house. A lady come out and asked the lady, I was like, hey, do you know where's this address? She's like, yeah, it's right there. But you sure? Because nobody lives there.
What? Damn, that was an angel taking care of you, my boy.
Bro, but it's crazy because I walked like 10 seconds later. I'm walking with my guy around, and then a car cut us, and then 4 guys come out of that car, right? They dress as police, as cops, right? And they're
So they're all professional.
bro, it's nuts. They're with guns, pointing at me with guns, right? So in my head, I'm like, what the fuck? And they're like, yo, this is police. You know, you got to come with us, this and that. And I was like, what? I haven't done anything, right? So at first I go, right? Because I'm like, I haven't done shit, you know? I go, they got me in the car. They got my guy here on this side. They got me on the other side. And then there's 2 guys by the door. And the driver, and then other guys in the front, right? And then they start driving, right? And then when they were talking, I was like, yo, these are not real cops. Like in my head, I was like, they can be real cops.
You had a gut feeling.
I had a gut feeling, bro. Like they're not real cops. And what I did was basically, I remember one time I saw an interview on YouTube. I don't know if you guys know Otro Rollo.
Oh, that's one of my favorite shows.
You know,
I love Adán
Ramones. Okay,
Yeah,
Adán Ramones. He actually got kidnapped. And he talks about it, right? And then I remember, how's God so great, bro? That I remember I watched that episode. And Adán Ramones, he said that, yo, if you ever get kidnapped, you got, guys, take notes. If you ever get kidnapped.
Take notes, motherfuckers.
If you get kidnapped, you gotta act like, you know, you gotta throw the guys who are trying to kidnap you, you gotta throw them off. So you gotta act up like you're having a heart attack or something, right? And that's what I did. I acted like I'm having a heart attack, you know? And the guys on the back, they were like, yo, the guy who was driving, he was running all the red lights. He basically started slowing down. And basically, he was like, fuck it, you know, like the other guys were like talking shit. And they were like, no, he's acting this and that. And the other guy was like, no, he's whatever. And one of the guys punched me, right? And bro, that's when the Hulk came out.
The what?
Hulk.
Hulk.
The Hulk.
I'm like, bro, I'm Hulk. You know, like, they hit me and then, bro, I got mad. You know, I saw red. So I hit the guy. I elbowed the other guy, threw him. The other guy was slowing down. I managed to open the door and threw myself out of the car, bro. And I start running.
Wait. So you didn't get, so the cops show up, right?
Yeah.
Fake cops.
They show you
They get us
the
in the
guns,
car.
pum, 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 pum. You acted right there and then like you were having a heart attack, or
No.
you were doing that once you were
Once
inside?
we're in the car, because I realized once inside the car,
Oh, gotcha.
I realized that they weren't real cops because they were the way they were talking and the way they were driving, right? They were just speeding up, right? And I'm basically I managed to throw myself out of the car, and lucky me, bro, I fucking fall. I fall, but then you know, whenever you're in those situations of high stress, like your mouth gets super dry. You know, you can't even talk, right? So I'm like, I got up, I started running. In my head, I was like, man, these motherfuckers are gonna shoot me, right? So I started running, and then I bust a left, running, and then I see a car basically parked there, and there, basically what I do is like, a guy who was on the phone, you know, talking in his car, I opened the back door, and I threw myself in his car, and I told him, sir, you know, they're trying to kidnap me, please call the cops. And I remember until today, I remember his face. I never got his name. You know, I wish I can, you know, whenever I'm in Peru, I wish I can see this guy and I can, you know, give him a big hug, take him to dinner or do something for this guy because this guy saved my life. This guy basically told me, hey, all right, cool, you know, because imagine, bro, somebody jumps in your car, you get freaked out, right?
Yeah, you're like, what
the fuck are you doing, right?
Yeah.
But this guy, he didn't get freaked out.
He was calm.
He was calm. He was like, all right, cool, you know, he started calling the cops. And bro, when I was in the car like this hiding, I felt the other guys passing by or next to me looking for me.
Damn.
And
That's a crazy ass
bro,
experience.
but it's crazy because, you know, like that happened to me, right? And what I did after, I was supposed to have an event in Peru. I canceled my event and then immediately went to the airport, came back to the Bay. Now, 2-3 weeks later, that's when I got in my McLaren because I was like, fuck these guys, you know?
Question for you, follow up. Did you ever knew that if it was an inside job from your guy that introduced you to those people, did you ever try to do that homework
Right,
where
right.
like who were these motherfuckers trying to fuck with me or?
Honestly, I don't know 100% for sure, but I want to believe that it wasn't because the guys knew that I'm the one who is successful. He's not. You know what I mean? So I think that the job was on. They wanted to get me, not him. You know what I mean? Because they let him go. You know what I mean? They basically went after me. So I don't know if it was an inside job. It might be. I want to think that it wasn't. But if it was, you know,
You're just giving the benefit of the doubt.
I am, because at the end of the day, bro, and honestly, the guys who try to kidnap me, I forgive them. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, I just feel like, you know, people that gotta do that as a way of living are people who are lost. I believe that they gotta find, you know, like they gotta find God. Because at the end of the day, bro, like, how can you harm people and be okay with that, you know? And then later on, I realized basically these guys are like a whole organization that they target, you know, entrepreneurs in South America. They don't only do it in Peru, they do it in Colombia, they do it all over, you know what I mean? And yeah, bro, you know, for me it was a bad experience, but at the same time, God protected me, because that could have been it, guys. That could have been it, you know? God protected me. God gave me the strength. God sent that guy my way so he can help me. And I was able to actually get away from that situation. I'm basically back then I'm talking about, like, I wasn't even close to God yet. You know what I mean?
That was going to be my question.
I wasn't close to God. I was like, fuck it, you know, like, I took it as I was like, bad thing for the allegations, accusing me of doing something that I didn't do to this. Then I bought because I was like, I'm the man, motherfucker. I felt like a Scarface. I'm like, fuck it, who wanna fuck with me? You know, like, I felt like, fuck it, I'm gonna go buy me. God. I'm gonna buy me a motherfucking McLaren, so this motherfucker see that what they missed on. You know what I mean? So I got me a McLaren, and guys, you know, 2-3 weeks later, I was at a gas station in San Bruno. It's about to pump gas, and this video went viral. It was all over the news. You know, you guys probably seen it. But I was on my yellow McLaren, you know, about to pump gas, get out of my car, and a white Jeep cuts me off, and a guy comes out of from the Jeep, pointing at me with a mini Uzi, and basically pointing at me and then asking me for, you know, I was wearing a Rolex. He asked me for my wallet, my Rolex, my car keys. You know what I mean? But when that happened to me, I was like, fuck it, you know, I wasn't scared. You know, I was like, fuck it, you know, take everything, you know, it's not worth it. I was mad. But
did they end up taking it?
They took my Rolex, yeah. So after when I saw the video, I was like, fuck, that could have been my last video, guys. Mm-hmm. You know, that could have been it. And
how was the video? Who recorded? Was that the video?
It's the footage from the gas station.
The gas station.
I'll show you. I'll send you guys a video after so you guys can see it. It was all over the news. Like, it's crazy. I was getting a lot of messages.
Did they ever find the guy?
Bro, we're in California.
Sometimes they do. I mean, it depends.
And they give him a pat on the back. They don't do shit, bro. Like,
they just went, don't do that.
Exactly. So, but long story short,
you gotta live in Texas, man.
Yep.
And you know what? And that's what basically changed everything for me, guys, because then I realized, what the fuck am I doing?
Right.
You know, what the fuck am I doing in my life? Like, bad things are happening for a reason. You know what I mean? Like, bad things are happening for a reason. There's something I gotta learn from this. You know what I mean? Because I went through a bad season. I don't wish what I went through on nobody. You know, on nobody. Because what I went through, guys, it was basically, I don't believe in depression. I don't.
Me either.
I believe that, you know, you're capable of, you know, live in the present and make the best out of it. But when that happened to me, guys, I got paranoid. To the point that I didn't want to drive my car anymore.
People call it PSD or something like that, right?
I never believed in that until it happened to me. But I got paranoid, bro. The point I was like arguing with my wife about, why the fuck are you opening the garage? Close it. You know, when you get to the house, close it. I didn't want to be at the house. So it got to the point where I was like, I got to make moves, you know. And I started thinking about, you know, I tried to get me a gun. They told me it's going to take a month. I was like, fuck, I can't be without a gun for a month. Because when I called the cops, when that happened to me, when, you know, they took my Rolex, I called the cops came, they were like, yeah, that's not a random thing. They've been doing a follow-up on you, you know what I mean? So most likely they know where I live. You know, what if they come where I live? You know what I mean? Like,
right. They have you already.
And it's crazy, guys, because, you know, like I feel like a week before, something like that, I heard a story of a lady who, you know, she basically saw through a Ring camera that some guys, masked guys, were trying to, you know, get into her house, and then she had a gun, right? She had a permit and everything, and she took 2 shots. The guys ran away. She called the cops. The cops came, and the cops took her.
Yeah.
They arrested her.
She was the one.
They arrested her.
Stupid ass shit.
Bro,
dog.
That's California for you.
welcome to Cali, guys.
Welcome to
That's
California.
And guys,
The Golden State.
And guys, you know what? if you're like, where elections are about to happen, I don't really. I
for Trump.
wasn't big on politics. I love Trump. And I'll tell you this, guys. The more I understand, and it has to happen to you for you to understand things. You know what I mean? Before I was like, man, I don't really fuck about politics. Don't talk to me. I can make my own choices, whatever, right? But when you start seeing, the decline and safety and see how this beautiful state has turned into like a mess, like especially San Francisco, California, LA is nothing what it used to be back then. You know what I mean? You see people right now, you see Walgreens closing because these motherfuckers are basically stealing everything, and the laws are silly. If you steal less than $9.50, you don't go to jail.
Yeah.
I'm basically, I saw that, right? And I was like, I'm not going to be able to actually be good here. I got to make a move. So I decided to, look at the map and be like, where can I move to, right? So I started looking at Texas, Florida, and then I saw Arizona. Arizona was the closest state that was a red state that, is different. You can buy guns.
And it's right next to California, so you could come visit California whenever you want.
And one of my best buddies from high school, he lived there. He moved there like a few years back, and he loved it. So I went to visit, and we made the decision to move to Arizona. And bro, I'll tell you that I love Arizona. Arizona is like a beautiful state. If you're thinking about moving, Arizona is the way. Like the people, the safety, even the cops, bro. The cops. Oh my God, bro. The cops, they don't pull you over because they want to fuck with you. They don't want to give you tickets. They're onto the bad guys. Here, bro, I've been back in the Bay for like a month. And I already got 2 tickets. It's crazy. And when they pulled me over, because I was on my phone, right? Which I get it, it's a traffic violation. I don't care. But the guy who pulled me over, bro, he was treating me like a criminal. He almost get his gun out. I'm like, fuck it, bro. Like, bro, I just saw people getting robbed at CVS.
Why don't you go do something about that, right?
They don't do shit. But, they attacked us and they take their anger on us. And it's nuts, bro, because I was in Arizona for 2 years. Never got a single ticket. Never. I seen cops, nice. Never try to pull me over just to fuck with me. Bro, it's a whole different vibe. And yeah, Arizona, Texas is beautiful too,
I have
bro.
a house there, so
bro, it's amazing.
I go there back and forth.
And bro, Texas, and talking back, to my journey, I got into real estate as well. You know what I mean? So I'm like, I'm gonna get in Texas, bro, because I seen, Texas is like a growing state.
Booming state.
Arizona is great too. Texas, New Mexico, I heard is gonna be the next big state, because there's like New Mexico, if Arizona and Texas are growing, Mexico by default, New Mexico is gonna grow as well. So I want to get in New Mexico, and yeah, guys, I just feel like these times, I moved to Arizona, and when I moved to Arizona, basically I was in a state of mind where, I wasn't really working as much, because I was like, fuck, I was like a little paranoid still, I wasn't in a good space. I got into the gym a lot. I was overweight. And it's crazy because I used to back then how I used to think, right? I used to think I have money, and I used to think, just because I'm going to rock a Burberry shirt,
thought you would look good in it.
I'm going to look good in it, right?
Yeah.
You got to rock a Burberry shirt, Gucci. I used to buy all that shit, Louis V, whatever.
Yeah.
And just slap it on, right? But I was fat. And then I was like, fuck it, I got into the gym a lot. I started working out a lot. I started losing weight, gaining muscle. And I started to get my body back, and I started to feel good about it, but I felt empty still. I felt like, even though money-wise I was good, body-wise I was looking better, but I felt empty inside. I was like, I'm missing something.
So that's a really good point, because a lot of people think that downfalls could be just money too, but it's not. It's not just about money. It's about your mental health or anything that you're going through as well.
It's everything, especially for guys. When you're a guy, I feel like I come from a Latino family. Guys, we don't really talk about our feelings.
Yeah,
I never cry. I don't.
Can't let 'em
I'm I never tell anybody. I just don't tell nobody about my shit. You know what I mean? I just keep it to myself. But I felt empty, guys. I felt like I was conflicted, empty. I just didn't feel good about myself, even though I was doing okay with money. I was in Arizona. My body was looking good. I felt better, more confident, but I was empty. And that's where, you know, like I remember I met a buddy at the gym. Some guy spotted me. His name is John.
John Wick. I'm scared.
No, his name is John Kennedy. No, his name is Bob Kennedy. Bob, my bad. He's not John Kennedy. He's Bob Kennedy. When I first met him, he was like, yo, my last name is Kennedy, but we don't get popped. That's how I remember. That's how I remember his last name. And this guy basically, you know, like he you know, we're talking, you know, nice guy. And he was like, yeah, bro, you know, like I was like, bro, so what's your routine, you know? And he said, on Sundays, yeah, I go to church. And I'm like, oh, you go to church? And I'm Catholic, you know, I grew up Catholic, you know, like I used to go to those churches where, you know, like you got a door, the Jesus and the cross, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And there's the you know, the sacerdote, I don't even know, monk, I don't even know how to call it in English, bro.
The Pope.
The Pope, whatever,
Pope.
you know. But
Father?
the Father. But I didn't really, bro. I never felt a connection with church because, you know, I'll go to church, I'll feel guilty as fuck. But I will never understand the message. You know what I mean? So I'll just feel lost and I'll feel guilty. So I just didn't want to go there. It wasn't a good place. Plus, I never really got into adoring statues. You know what I mean? I was just like, I always questioned. I was like, that's man-made. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I kind of, you know, got away from church for a while until that guy told me I go to church on Sundays. So I decided to go to church on Sunday. I went to a Christian church for the first time in Arizona. It's called Sunrise, something like that. Sun Valley, my bad. Sun Valley in Arizona. So I went to church for the first time. And guys, when I went to church, you know, it was great. You know, I felt like a great vibe. At first, you know, they sing. I like the songs and then the message, you know what I mean? Like I was able to understand the message that I always wanted to understand, but I couldn't because it was complicated, you know, but I got to understand the message. And what I can tell you is that, you know, I really got into it, you know, and then I took my family the following week and then I kept on going and I decided to get baptized, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I decided to accept and take Jesus Christ into my life. And basically understand that the reason why, you know, I was going through those bad times was because I got away from God. You know what I mean? Like, even though I was away from God and I felt like I was a God, you know, I felt like God himself took care of me because anything could have happened to me there. You know what I mean? Anything. Mm-hmm. But God just protected me. And I was like, hey, you know what? There's something that I want to explore. And today, guys, I don't feel empty anymore. I feel good. Mm-hmm. I go to church every Sunday. I'm not a perfect Christian. I'm not a perfect person. But every time something happens to me, what I do is I reflect on what, you know, Jesus will do, you know? How will Jesus handle these things? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And guys, what I can tell you, especially with this world nowadays, you know, like we don't even know, like you see kids, they're teaching kids things that honestly shouldn't even be taught at schools. Mm-hmm. You know, I don't know how many sexes are there, you know, like
genders and all that stuff.
To me, guys, that's
a fucked up place right now.
It's like, think about this, guys. There's a lot of bad shit going on. You know, there's like a cult of liberal agenda going on that they want to basically promote, you know what I mean? They're promoting it on TV, on music, everywhere, right? So I just feel like if you don't take a stand, you're part of the problem. You know what I mean? If you're just stay neutral, you're part of the problem. Because these guys are basically getting big, and they're getting bigger, and they're taking over states like California, like New York, like Oregon, like Washington. They're taking those states because these guys are basically... They're good at what they do, you know. They're good at expanding, you know. They're good at taking stands. They're good at putting their flags all over. You go to the city, you see the LGBT whatever WZ flag everywhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But where's the American flag?
Yep.
Where's the American flag? You know what I mean? Like, you should be proud
To be an American.
to be an American, to be a Christian, to be a man. I don't put my man flag out there. I don't put my Christian flag out there. If you're gonna put a flag, it has to be the U.S. flag because we live here. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So I just feel like ever since I got in that route, I got in that road that way, everything has been making sense. Even though right now I just feel like I'm going through a stage where I'm like, I'm still trying to figure out myself. I want to figure out myself. I know that I have more to give, but I feel great when it comes to who I am today. You know what I mean? I look good. I feel great. I'm pumped, guys. You know, and that's why I'm excited because and that's why I told you at the beginning. I haven't done shit.
So remember when I said that? Okay, you go up, right?
Yeah.
And then you come down. That down is better than the up.
All the time.
Why? Because it gives you another purpose. And I felt like everything that happened to you, God was sending you a message. Y obviamente no te dejó pasar nada malo, but for a reason, and there's a purpose to this.
Bro, you should have told me I could speak Spanish.
Another thing. Well, there's someone we speak Spanish.
Oh, dude,
It's
Spanish
bilingual.
out here, bro. Shit.
Bilingual.
I'm like trying to think of the word.
No, pues como venga, you know.
Venga,
como
Como te salga, como salga.
salga.
Sin albur.
So, and again, maybe this is why we're here too.
Yes, sir.
That's why maybe we saw each other in Reno a few weeks ago. Now we're here. I don't know. I just don't think nothing happens for no reason. I've always been a strong believer in that.
Divine timing.
That's like my thing, bro. Like and now that you're talking about all this, I feel like I don't know, something big is about to happen. You know?
I feel the same way because, like I mentioned to you earlier about this podcast with Flyview Network, Compa Chori, Compa Güero, and Luis had already been working on this for over a year, and I came into the picture a couple months ago.
Yeah.
And I've been knowing them for a while.
Oh yeah.
but
By the way,
there's
there's another guy, but he's on vacation right now. Yeah.
This guy's good. So yeah.
It's four of us.
It's four of us.
So it's all four of us.
Yeah.
But I came into the picture not too long ago, right?
Yep.
And I'm pretty tech savvy and all these things. So I kind of came into the picture and help fulfill what their vision was, right? Like they had the vision, they knew what they wanted, but I came in and helped in this part. And me and Compa Chori would always talk about this, about how does this happen, right? He lives an hour away. I live here in San Jose. How do we meet? How does this program start? How do we come and we make this happen, right? And I told him, it's just divine timing, right? Like, there's no explanation for this. There's no explanation as to why you're here today. Yeah, you knew Chori, but it's just God's timing, God's purpose, and what we're trying to do with Flyview Network to inspire entrepreneurs, inspire our communities, and give them the little knowledge or the lot of knowledge we might have. It's bigger than our plans, right? I don't think we could have planned this any better.
Nope.
I think just letting it happen, letting it flow, and having our minds in the right direction is what gets us to where we're at today.
Also, too, bro, Flyview Network is not just about entrepreneurship. It's about what you're talking about, your story. Good people being around, too, because we're thinking about, like, doing, like, kind of like a BBB type of, thing, like, where a lot of entrepreneurs come in and there could be members as well. They could be members as well, but if they're, like how should I say, like, frauds, we're going to kick them out. Even though they're paying a membership, we're going to kick them out because it's not about the money no more.
Right.
We want, like, good people in our circle. Right. You know what I'm saying? So,
yeah, awesome. So I know we're always mindful of our guests' time frames.
Right.
So I want to ask you something, right? Just so we can wrap this up, because I know people want to learn and want to understand exactly what you do and how you contribute yourself with the rest of your community and you portray yourself with what you do. So Flyview Network, as far as like what Chori and what Gio was saying, one of the concepts is like we are welcoming every entrepreneur, every business area. As we all know, the mindset is always the same when it comes to different businesses. But we always want to cater to people or this upcoming upbringings to people that can relate to your story, that want to do what you do, right? So from this point on, we really want to know about we heard about your first business, and I know you mentioned you were very excited that now you have different businesses, right? But from now on, we're gonna give you the floor so then you can really dive deep on the different businesses that you do, how you cater to the community, and if there's aspiring entrepreneurs that want to do what you do, or for you to be their mentor in any sense, or even our mentor, right? Because we're already learning from each other. But maybe there's areas where like I was like, oh, you know, like I always welcome new sources of income. You feel me?
Yeah,
you welcome new sources of income?
Always.
You welcome new sources.
Hell yeah.
So you know what I'm saying? So there's a lot of things that, you know, we wanna hear from you and understand, and definitely want to shout out all your businesses.
Yeah.
But also don't give too much, because there's gonna be a part 2 too.
There you go.
Yeah, feel me. The part 2 is like once we launch it and when we hear about people's comments and stuff, like we're gonna ask you what people want to hear from you, right?
There you go.
So take us through your businesses, how you position them, what they do, and how you cater, and how you actually source the income that you're getting from each venue that you have.
Perfect.
So take it away, my man.
So I have different businesses. I'll say different, type of size of the business. Basically what I do. Obviously, I do a lot of, people know me for trading. I do a lot of trading, crypto trading. Right now, we're actually launching, because a lot of people are asking, yo, how do you do trading, this and that? And it's hard. There's like a learning curve, right? And we figured that, because a lot of the people that join, a lot of people quit because they're like, they don't have the time, or they just don't have the resilience to keep on going and learning. You know what I mean? So that's why we decided to launch an auto trader. And basically that auto trader, you can connect it to your exchange if you use Binance, whatever. And basically our trades will you don't have to give your money anywhere. You can put your money in your exchange, and our trades will actually reflect on your account as well. So we're going to trade for you as well.
So let me ask you a question. So it's like, let's just say me, right? It was
Right.
like, hey, compa, I have $10,000 that
Right.
me están estorbando por ahí.
¡Hala, verga, güey!
So I'm gonna put it in your hand, and your team's gonna do the trading for you.
It's yes and no, because you don't have to give us the money. The money, Binance is an exchange, basically, where you can trade, right? You put your money on your own account.
Right.
And basically, you're always going to have your money. You can take off your money whenever you want, because there's a lot of scams out there. They tell you, yeah, give me your money, I'll trade for you, this and that. And they're like, oh, we lost everything, right?
Yeah.
So you got to be careful with that. So what we do is basically to keep it compliant, we don't take your money. Your money's in your exchange. And basically our trades, whatever trades we do, will reflect on your account. And if you win, for example, a trade, say, for example, you win $1,000, right? We charge 20%.
Let me ask you a question, because something's not clicking unless they understand and I don't. So let's just say I have my wallet.
Yeah.
Right. And I have my money in my cryptocurrency. So your system, it's embedded in my wallet, and then you do the trading for my wallet.
So you connect it through a thing, not through your wallet, but through your exchange. Because, you can have a wallet, so you have Coinbase or Nano as whatever wallet you have, right? A wallet is just for you to save or keep your money. But if you have an exchange, say, for example, Binance, KuCoin, Crypto.com, any of those exchanges, basically, you put your money there, right? And then if you want to go and trade, you can do it by yourself. So you can say, for example, I want to trade in Solana. Solana is going to go up, right? And if Solana goes up, if you put $100, and if it goes up 100%, you make $200, right?
Right.
So you can do that yourself, or you can use our algorithm or auto trader. We'll connect it through, I think it's called AP keys. Basically, we'll connect it through our system, but your money's never gonna leave your account. It's always gonna be there. But our trades are gonna reflect in your account. Basically, say for example, do a successful trade, right? And I make $1,000, right? If I make $1,000, I'm gonna charge you 20% of the earnings. So 800 goes to you and 200 goes for me. I'm only charging 20% of whatever gains. If you lose, I'm not gonna charge you anything. But if you lose when you do a spot trading, you're not really losing, because if you buy Solana at $100 and it goes down to 50, right, you're technically losing 50%. But if you don't sell, if you keep it going and Solana goes to $200,
You still win.
you still win. It's a patience game, but it's a thing that we're launching, guys. I haven't even posted this on IG or nothing, because it's something that...
Oh, we're getting the exclusive here?
Yeah, it's exclusive.
My boy. My boy.
And
Okay.
And I told you, bro, I'm like always, like looking for ways to basically
Improve.
I'll say improve because everything is changing, bro. Life is all about change. You know what I mean? And I just feel like I went through states where what we had back then was good, but it doesn't
Make
really
it
work
better.
anymore because like people are busy to have their lives back then. Plus, like the pandemic helped. A lot of people had time. They were at their house, but now it's different. So we gotta find a way to give a good service, but at the same time make it easier. So I think that's gonna be our next $1 million idea. I'm expecting at least make more than $1 million, obviously, but yeah, I'm looking to scale it. I'm how we're gonna scale it basically by giving good results. Because obviously, if you don't get good results,
You're not gonna.
yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? But
stand by you.
but so far we're good, guys. So far we're
use
killing it.
use me as a test dummy,
Bro, yeah,
and I'll
yeah.
be your testimonial.
There you go, bro. Yeah.
I like that.
Úsame, dice.
There you go. So that's one of them. The other one that we have is real estate, but it's digital real
I
estate.
didn't catch the name for the first. What's the name of the?
So is ATM movement still?
So ATM
Within the
movement.
same-
Is,
Yeah,
so
but
this is an addition to.
Yeah,
it.
but it's
Got
the
it.
auto trader.
Got it.
So ATM
different
started,
service.
What you started in the beginning was ATM, but you're still gonna continue the name, but it's just gonna be different.
Yeah,
a different system,
ATM is a brand, bro. It's like basically
You're adding services.
like
to it.
Flyview Network.
Yeah, yes. It's like, you guys are doing podcasts and you guys are thinking about doing memberships. You're still going to have your name in it, So basically it's going to be the big umbrella and then you're going to have different, things that you guys
I call it businesses within businesses.
Yeah. So
Because that's what I do.
Yeah.
I have like one business and I have my businesses under that, which is still the same business.
yeah, that's a great because at the
Yeah.
end of the day, guys, remember, it's all about branding. If you keep on like introducing different things, people go like, oh, okay, what
Stay
is this? What is
interested.
this guy doing? He's doing different things. So when it comes to trading, it's always going to be ATM, right? Now, when it comes to real estate, that's another thing. Real estate is we're doing digital real estate. I'm about to
Digital real estate.
I'm about to blow up your minds, guys. But I'm gonna make it short. I'm gonna make it simple, right? I partnered with a company. The company is it's a DAO. It's a decentralized association. It's basically it doesn't have just an owner. Like it has a bunch of different owners. It's like blockchain. It's decentralized ownership. And basically, it's based in Utah. It's called Innate. So
I'm sure someone from California made it and they put it in Utah to avoid
No.
taxes.
So the guy who made it, he's actually a good friend of mine.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So his name is Joe Martinez. He's a great guy. He's a Mormon. I love,
He's a what?
Mormon.
Mormon.
I lived in Utah for 2 months before I got back to the Bay. And the reason why is because I was helping him launch the idea, Utah. And he contacted me. He was like, I'm going to launch this. I was like, all right, cool. Let me fly there. So I was living in Utah. Great experience. Utah is nice, but it's more like, it's really strict.
Were you close to Salt Lake City?
I was in Salt Lake City.
Okay.
I was living there.
Salt
It's
Lake
really,
City's nice.
it's
Yeah.
really strict, bro. You can't even have a double shot. If you ask for a double shot, they'll fucking put you in jail.
What?
For a double
Bro,
shot?
A double shot, bro. They don't sell double shots. If you want to
What
go to
if
a
you
bar,
take a shot and then ask for another one?
you gotta waste certain time.
Oh,
and you gotta
fuck.
eat, bro.
You time it?
It's nuts because, bro, you want to go to a B-Dubs, right? You can go to a B-Dubs here and sit at the bar, right? Anywhere, right? You go in Salt Lake City, you go to B-Dubs, bro. You gotta show your ID and they gotta put a bracelet. It's really strict, bro. Like
I don't think we would have
the
left.
first time I was in Utah, I went to a restaurant that had a bar. I sat at the bar, and the lady, she was like, "You got your ID?" And I was like, "Yo, I left my ID in the car, but I'm over 21." And she was like, "Yeah, you gotta get up and you gotta leave." What? Bro, they take it so serious. They got so many laws out there, but it's a nice state. It's beautiful. It's nice sightseeing. You see the snow and everything. If you're into white girls, there's a lot of white girls out there. It's nice. It's really nice. I love Utah. It's a nice state. But I was actually helping him launch this company, and this company is another thing that is taking off as well. And it has to do, when I say virtual real estate, it's because it works like this, right? You guys use it, but you guys don't know it. Because you guys basically, the content that you guys are shooting, right? You guys are going to save that somewhere. You guys probably have a storage, right? Mm-hmm. Now think about this. When you guys upload this content, could be YouTube, whatever platform, right? In order for us to see that content, right? Say, for example, if I go to Dubai or
Oh, this is what you were telling me in Reno.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So if I go to Dubai or Mexico, anywhere, and I go to YouTube, and I go to your channel, right, and I look for the video, I'm going to find it, right? Because this video is in a cloud, right? This is the YouTube cloud, right?
Network, Compa Chori, close us off. You feel me?
Hi, boy. Hey, bro, I want to give special thanks to my boys for coming through. And yes, this is what Flyview Network is about. You know what I'm saying? Not just us. It's the new generation, the little ones. So, también yo tengo un niño también. And, you know, ay, boy, Flyview Network, baby.
That's the network, my man. Thank you.